So we have some really interesting price action that just happened here. I want to analyze it and also talk about changing philosophy that I have right now. So my philosophy had been to just, okay, there's different parts of my philosophy, but to focus on having the highest annual ROI in the least amount of time. I still like doing the least amount of time, but I think that I want consistent equity curve growth matters more to me than having the highest ROI. So, like for instance, I would rather make $100,000 a month than $2 million once a year. It's easier to plan for, it's easier on the psyche, it's less stressful, and when and if I'm supporting family, it's more important. Now, what that means for my trading, one is to trade higher frequency, and two, I think it's going to mean to take quicker profits. And depending on the chart, so I could say like, oh man, I should have let this run and all. And yes, I think in this circumstance, when we had these high time frame trend line breaks, it made sense to let them run. Where we are now, though, after all this movement, we're likely to have some chop. And even if I hadn't let it run and had just cut profits quicker, but had just traded frequently, I took every breakout and took profits on them, still would have made a ton. And just the way the last week has gone, the way I've been trading, just taking quicker profits, I would have so many winning trades. Instead, I'm up about $1,000 in my paper trading challenge account. And however, the paper trading challenge would have ended today if I hadn't adjusted my targets up. So here we are on the 4 hour. And by the way, also, I think I should have had the sweep into gap short. I didn't notice that on the 4 hour. But um, when I started the day, I had a long like this, and I had a breakout long like this. But I said, let's just go to the major long target and go for the home run, 17R. Well, if I just go for the low-hanging fruit here, which I think is more likely because after such a move, a trend seems to being exhausting, at least in the short term, and we see that um, we're near a major target. And if we look at the liquidity, it makes sense to hit here and possibly just dump. So if this had been, I would have just scooped up for 6R right there and be done with my challenge. Instead, I just closed out because to me this is quite bearish actually. Why is this quite bearish? Well, okay, so in my journal, like, okay, January 26th, I need to hold, I can't close my winners at break even, but um, quicker profits, more trades. So, for instance, like closing this short sooner would have been good. Closing the long sooner would have been good. In these ranges, it makes sense. So now, why do I think this is super bearish price action? This is our first failed breakout on Bitcoin that we've had on this entire move up. Every single breakout has worked pretty quickly. This one, if we were going higher, this red candle shouldn't have happened. We should just be moving up. We shouldn't be back in this range. So now I think it's quite likely and possible we go back down here. And we're going to look at that. But yeah, if I had not increased my targets this morning, then I would be happily uh, back to paper trading or live trading. But it's okay. More time is fine. Now, ETH is not quite as bearish because we could push up and take these and um, ETH's just acting better now. Like ETH BTC, ETH is rebounding. And by the way, I think ranging price action here makes sense after such a big move to consolidate and generate liquidity. Such a liquidity-driven market. So I actually took a loss on this breakout along on ETH, which I don't love because yeah, just didn't work. You know, again, this one, I'm not sure why I'm not in an ETH position because I wasn't supposed to stop out of this one. And I would be fine in this ETH position at 2.2 R. Like I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm no longer in this position. Okay. So, Emma, what is this? This is the buy limit here. Let's cancel that. Yeah. Had a buy stop here. Let's cancel that. What is this? Why is there another buy limit here? I'm not. Okay, let's just go flat for a minute. Um, we could go higher. I just think it's quite bearish, and I'm interested in taking the inside short on Bitcoin now. Let's take a look at the liquidity chart on the 7-day, and I think it's going to make sense why now. Let's look. Yeah, we just took the yellow, the hottest spot. Now the nearest hot spot is below 22 and 26.50. So it just it makes sense to take an inside short down to these levels. Let's look at a monthly. I mean, we could go to 25.1. That's what I would have expected. But falling back inside is not really good to get there right now. It is possible still we push up higher, but that wasn't really bullish move. So I'm just going to cancel all my orders and reevaluate. Okay, we'll wait for trigger above here. We got our trigger. So I am going to okay, before I do a new order, I want to look back at what would have worked. I didn't consider this 4-hour gap, I guess. So I didn't see it. On the 1 hour, I was looking up here. The 4 hour is what would have worked well. Just shorting here. And I think this was reasonable. This would have been reasonable given let's look at the 1 hour, how the liquidity was looking. I mean, we could still go higher. Yeah, the 4 hour aligns with this 1 hour right here. Could even, would that have worked? It would have worked. Yeah, that would have been a sniper entry. 17R down there. So what's the case for this being bullish right now? Well, I can do a breakout long on ETH. I liked how ETH looked. But yeah, I mean, as long as we're under here, it doesn't really look great. So there's a couple ways I could structure it. The first one would be like this. This would be, I kind of like, okay, let's do, I could do two versions of this. Ooh, limit points. Well, let me look if I'm gonna have any ETH shorts. No, I won't have any ETH shorts because down here maybe. So I might try. I could lose both of these. Side short on Bitcoin. I could also do a daily exhaustion short. I think I'm just not going to trade daily exhaustion anymore. Just feels super unreliable. Okay. So ETH, oh, we can do breakdowns. Um, I prefer to maybe wait and see, but for Bitcoin, it would be, I think I would rather wait to see like something like that. ETH looks a little bit better, so we're gonna look at a breakdown short on ETH. Why does ETH look better for it? Because we have an extra level. I still like this. Yeah, I would say if we take this low, we should go down here and leave that on. Now I'm gonna say if we take this high on ETH, we should at least come up to here. I think for the breakout trades, it is important to close them quickly, probably, because they often come back to entry, it feels like. Something like this. Stop is quite tight. Wait, what happened? Oops. The fuck happened? Should be a stop market order. I think I got entered and exited. If we consider the market being liquidity driven right now, all this makes a lot of sense. Okay, but for a Bitcoin long, could just be way wrong. It just doesn't make sense to me where we took this and fell back into this range where it just doesn't. Guess maybe I shouldn't have closed right in here. Longs. Could have, should have waited. Need to get better at profit taking. What was this line? This line isn't a thing anymore. This is a line now. But yeah, okay. That's a lesson is like, what do I want? I want smoother equity. How do I get smoother equity? Trade more often and take quicker profits. I don't want to do like have to stare at the chart and do partials and all this, but yeah, it's kind of wild. Well, these guys are trending up. It could be I just misread that and like fucked that up. Because I mean it's a green day and but no, I'm gonna stick to my what my system is telling me is inside shorts make sense. No. This is a failed breakout. We're back under all these levels. ETH could go higher. ETH could go to new highs. Okay. Yeah, a couple interesting inside shorts I could try. I'm not going to try an inside short on ETH because it needs to take these levels. And a breakout on ETH looks a lot better. Breakdown on ETH looks a little better. Breakdown. What would a breakdown on Bitcoin look like? It would look like, okay, if we go under all this support and back down to here, I don't think I want to set an order for it. Yeah, it just doesn't seem good enough. Okay. Yeah, lesson of the day is what I want is I want a smooth equity curve. Those home runs would be nice. I wish I had that home run. There's also times for home runs. There's times for smooth equity or just quicker TPs. I think there was a tell that this would be a good place to take profit. This one broke out. This one broke out and did not retrace. This one broke out and it retraced immediately. So even though it's pushing up, I mean, yeah, it needs to. It's gonna need to get higher, go higher right away. Really interesting price action. ETH looks like it wants to launch. Guess it would have been interesting to go long down here. It's possible we just launch. ETH in particular looks like it wants to. Oh, it could be delayed where ETH's about to go to a new high and sweep and come back. Well, in that case, does it make sense to do a sweep the gap or poke the gap on ETH? This gap has already been tested. this look like? Might be okay. I'm kind of actually disliking these bigger swing trades because how long do you have to hold them? Yeah, this takes a while. This is what would have given a good entry on Bitcoin is this 4 hour. Here we're saying, okay, I expect price to be rejected. Okay. I feel like I'm not haven't really been going anywhere lately, but I'm learning considerably. Like I'm learning a lot. Sort of spinning my wheels, but I'm learning a lot. Yeah, I mean this to me, this breakout looks way different than any of the other ones where that was clearly a breakout. We not only took the highs of the range, but we took an old high, a separate high, and immediately fell back in. I mean, I guess that happened here technically. We did go lower. It took a while, but yeah, it doesn't look the most. I don't know. We'll see. It's an interesting situation. To me, it's a trigger for a inside short. Bitcoin at least. And dominance starting to possible signs of weakness. Okay.